We're going to talk a little bit about the changing customer expectations and why web testing and personalization couldn't be right for your business. We're going to go through the Adobe Target value proposition. And then we're going to jump into show you Target. So not a full demo like you'd see if you're working with a sales and product team, but we're going to give you a taste of the product. We're going to kind of go through some of the different implementation options and what that means to you. We're going to go to how Marketo and Target work well together and the synergy that they bring. And then we're going to give an overview of how integrations work, as well as kind of how you'd send audiences from Marketo over to Target and the value that you get. At the end of that, we're going to do a wrap up really quick and then answer any questions, and we'll get you on about your day. We do really appreciate everybody taking the time this afternoon to join us. So a little background on Xeris. Xeris is based in Des Moines, Iowa. We've been in business for almost 40 years. We are a technology consulting firm that work with a variety of technologies. But in this time, we're talking about Adobe and our sales and marketing technology revenue operations practice that George and I belong to. The great thing about Xeris is our average employee tenure is a little over 11 years, which what that means for customers is not only do we help you on an implementation of, say, Target, like we're talking about today, or Marketo, but we also can stay with you over time and continue to grow with you as you guys evolve your practice. We work with a variety of different industries across the board and continue to grow our level of certifications each year. So George is an Adobe architect. We have many of folks on our team that are certified in other Adobe technologies, as well as other core technologies that you see in the revenue operations space, whether they be CRM platforms, integration platforms, and more. So a little background on the types of customers that we work with. We really look at ourselves as elite technology specialists that deliver business value for our customers. So we kind of sit in that sweet spot between technology and marketing to be able to empower you all to get the most out of the purchases that you make when it comes to technology to drive your business forward. And, I saw a stat recently that CMOs spend just as much on technology as CIOs do today, which was kind of a head scratcher. But then when you really think about it, like the amount of technology and tools that we use in marketing every day, those costs add up, and really the ability to get value out of those tools to drive revenue and pipeline for your business is super important. So we work with customers to be able to realize those returns on their investment, to get the value out of those technologies and drive their business forward. All right, so I'm going to jump into the presentation now. Again, please feel free to ask questions as we go along. But you all know, we've seen the changes the past 10 years in marketing with regard to consumer expectations. We've all talked about AI recently. That's only going to accelerate these changes over the next few years, really separating those haves and have-nots when it comes to marketing technology and the employment of that. This is going to usher in a new digital normal where customers expect not only we know who they are, but what they want. Data is the new digital currency, and understanding the context of your customers and prospects enables you to cut through the crowd to serve your customers better. When you talk about digital experiences, I was on a research call yesterday with a data firm, and they detailed one of the biggest factors on customer buying decision and what separates good from great marketers is the speed to market. And obviously, as we've talked about AI and things like that over the years, and especially as that continues to grow, the speed that we're able to get our messages out and test those messages and really refine those communications to drive value is going to be more and more important. And that is going to allow us to get the right message in front of our consumer at the right time and capitalize on that interest that has been generated by our marketing team, and ultimately, sell them products and services, which we all are in the job and business to do. So when speaking to customers, and this is backed up by research, consumers really expect the following from your brand. It needs to be personalized for them. It needs to be something that's safe and secure, that's honoring their preferences. It has to be easy to use. They have to be able to understand what the product is and what the value proposition for them is. It has to be able to be viewed in both mobile and desktop experiences, because as most of you are traveling busy professionals, you may be looking out on your phone, on your computer, a mobile device, laptop, whatnot. And then they really have to have that visual design. So design is still important as it's ever been, even though data and technology have kind of come to the forefront. So being able to really package that together is what's going to be successful for your brand. So, what does that mean for your company? For brands looking to stand out, good experience are no longer good enough. They need to be great. And we're going to talk through today how to be great. So, as companies look to find ways to improve their digital touchpoints, personalization and optimization can play a significant role in not only meeting those customer expectations that we talked about, but exceeding them. And this is where the synergy between Marketo and Adobe Target can turn those ordinary experiences into extraordinary ones as we get beyond the realm of automation and into creating impact for our customers. Because personalized experience matter to your customers, exceeding customer expectations, like I talked about with personalization, has a clear impact on business outcomes. So you can see by some of these studies here, whether they be from Epsilon, Accenture, or Boston Consulting Group, about the value that customers give when things are personalized and relevant to them. So some of the key takeaways that I want you to take away from this is, brands that offer good customer experience are more likely to see their revenue grow faster than those who don't put customer experience as a top priority. And the fact that you're on this webinar today shows that that's a clear priority for you. And here at Xeris and Adobe, we're hopeful that we can help make that happen and get you to where you need to be. So the great news for organizations looking to personalize, as those who optimize their digital touch points can expect a positive impact on ROI for their efforts. Personalization, like any marketing initiative or program, takes time and effort, but this is an area that is measurable and overall historically actually helps drive your profit. So the things you're doing today are going to offer value for you into the future and really generate that pipeline. As you all know, the pipeline we're generating as marketers today are probably coming to fruition in 3, 6, 12 months down the line, depending on our sales cycle. So, what we put in today, we're going to get out of it tomorrow. So that's where Adobe Target comes into play. So Adobe Target is your personalization at scale optimization engine. Target helps deliver the best experiences through a unified progressive profile that spans across channels. Knowing your customers and giving them personal experiences consistently makes them feel heard. Heard customers are happy customers who ultimately become loyal customers. Target has the functionality of several products wrapped into one, meaning you don't have to jump from tool to tool. It's equipped with the capabilities for you to tackle easy to complex and everything in between. That's a lot of value in a single solution, designed for both marketers and IT teams so everyone can use it the way they need. And it's ready to integrate with other Adobe Experience Cloud solutions, just like Marketo, for a cohesive experience on your end. Achieving personalization at scale takes a lot. In fact, much more than achievable. It's much more achievable than with human effort alone. Applying AI and machine learning to your personalization efforts to ensure you're able to deliver extraordinary experiences at scale with ease. So Target covers all these bases when it comes to the capabilities necessary for personalization, meaning you can rely on one tool instead of multiple. So we're going to be covering each one of these today, but essentially you're looking at, A/B testing, the ability to test product A and product B, message A, message B, multivariant, so that A, B, C, D, testing those, being able to use targeting to make sure the experience is right for each customer, and then automating and personalization and auto targeting based on that. So you're not constantly revising things, you're able to leverage what it has, and then also being able to make those recommendations based on what you know about customers to present that information to them. Adobe Target delivers on the value for our customers in a variety of ways across all the key areas of personalization. Over the next 3 slides, before turning things over to Georgia, where she will let you see the product and its synergy with Marketo, I'm going to cover the 3 biggest use cases we see, each of which should apply to your business. The first use case is testing different experiences to increase engagement and improve your conversion rates. This varies by your needs, whether you're looking for more engagement, so for example, more time on your site through engagement, or increasing your conversion rates to get someone ready to buy a product. So we recently worked with a customer who had not employed targeting and a product like Target for A/B testing and personalization. And they decided they wanted to go through a large website redesign in order to drive more leads, drive better engagement with their customers, and be able to show value to their company. They ended up putting about 10,000 man hours into this website redevelopment. And 12 months after that redevelopment, they saw flat returns on their investment. So essentially, they invested $10,000 to see flat returns. One thing that I've seen, and coming from a technology background, anytime you want to have design, which is certainly important, you need to be able to refresh your design time and time again. But testing some of those things out before investing the time and developer time, content time, and the full website launch, like many of you have probably been involved in, without testing some of those things to validate it's going to make an impact, is pure folly. So one thing that we've seen with this customer after starting to work with them, they embraced personalization and testing on the different things they've done. And they've been able to see the types of engagement increases that they were hoping to see all along with this website redesign. They've just been piecemealed. So a more agile approach. They've focused on certain products, certain services, certain content, and they've been able to leverage what works and what doesn't to ultimately move the needle for their company. And that's a great example of how Target can impact your business and save you lots of heartache and development time and work that doesn't pay off in the end. The next example is a personalization use case. By knowing your customer better than they do, as you first harvest their engagement with your brand and then harness that engagement to drive customers through the buying process. So an example we have here, we worked with a higher ed customer that leveraged both Marketo and Target to really manage the student recruitment and application and ultimately onboarding process at their university. So they went through a cycle where their cycle is fairly long. So you have, maybe your high school, junior, early senior year, you're trying to decide where you want to go to college. So you start looking at websites, talking to your recruiters, talking to your guidance counselor about different places you want to go. So what they ultimately did is they instituted a platform where they would capture anonymous traffic as it came to their website, and they'd be trying to push people to fill out an application. So think of an application in this context is almost like that lead form. They're filling out that form. And it was more robust than that, but they were able to fill out that form. And people that started the application process but didn't finish the application, they would push those people over into Marketo, and they had a nurture cycle that would be able to nurture them. And it was in about a 12 to 15 step process that they went through to help re-engage them and move them down the next path of their journey. At the same time as they were doing this, they were learning more about what the customer was interested as they kept coming back to the site. So if somebody was a business major versus an arts and sciences major versus an engineering major versus a computer science major, they were able to serve up relevant content using Adobe Target because of their knowledge of that customer, both what they were doing on the browser, but also what they were seeing in the back end in terms of content they're engaging with to be able to drive that experience forward. And they were able to see increased amount of applications as well as increased student flow by using Marketo and Target together. So really great example of how you can leverage the two platforms to drive desired outcomes for your organization. Last one before I turn it over to Georgia is the use case that combines both testing and personalization. So most marketers are evaluated based not only on leads created, but also those that are sales accepted and ultimately on pipeline created and won. We recently worked with a consulting organization that was about a $400 million company, and their goals was to be in a $1 billion organization by 2030. Their marketing team was doing a great job in terms of generating touch points. So they received about 10,000 consumer touch points per day. So, obviously not the problem most marketers are experiencing. They had a ton of engagement. And they got that between articles, white papers, events, demand generation efforts, et cetera. And so what they really wanted to do is how do we create more value, more pipeline out of all this engagement that they're doing? So by leveraging both Target and marketing automation, they implemented lead scoring to understand of those touch points, who are the right ones that were ready for sales. They also looked at the micro conversion touch points. So certain pages were more likely to lead to revenue, like their product pages. So what they did is on those pages, they did a significant amount of A/B testing to see if this page's conversion rate for people that went to that page was maybe 2% of those people actually filled out the form. What could they do on that page to increase the conversion rate to 4%? Knowing that on the back end, once those leads came in and were qualified, because that was a page that was worthy of qualification and needed to go to sales, all the metrics they have back end. So a certain percentage of those would convert from leads to sales qualified opportunities. A certain amount of those would have pipeline, and a certain percentage of those would have revenue associated with them. So by doubling the amount of engagement and form fills that they had, they essentially gave themselves an opportunity to double their pipeline on the back end. It was all through that A/B testing process of those core pages that were delivering the best leads to the organization. So 3 examples on how Adobe Target can, along with Marketo, can help give value to your organization. I'm going to turn it over now to Georgia so she can show you the nitty gritty of the product and you can actually get a feel for it.
Awesome. Thanks, Brandon. Yeah, so now that you kind of have an idea of what Target is and how it can help you, I'm going to touch a little bit on our implementations and how we quickly set it up, and then how we can use it with maybe your existing Marketo instance as well. So really showing and demoing that entire marketing funnel with email and website personalization. So first, on our implementations, we really do a target implementation in 3 steps. So in order to do the awesome personalization that Brandon walked through, what we'll do is configure your system. So that's just a little piece of JavaScript that goes onto your website, very similar to the Marketo Munchkin code or any other pieces of, Google Tag Manager, little pieces of JavaScript that we would put on the site. That allows us to come in and edit a page, edit your headers or your button colors, gives us the ability and the permissions to do that and edit your pages. And then comes the personalization part. So working with your marketing teams to define what you want your use cases to be. What do you think your audience personas are, and building those audiences out. And then lastly, doing some reporting. So once you have those audiences, how can we report on different locations, different device types, different behaviors of your audience and how things are performing, and then looking at those success metrics overall. So not too difficult when it comes to implementing and putting this tool as another layer on top of your website. One more piece we want to review today that covers the implementation. There's 2 different types that we can do, and that's client side versus server side. So the client side implementations are a little quicker. It's better page loads, better speed, but also more flexibility, where a server side can give you more consistency. So if you have a website that you're hosting kind of on your server, then you don't need to rely on that JavaScript independence, that script in the top of your pages, but it does offer more security. So this is something we talk through with all of our clients as we're starting the implementations is, what do you prefer? What have you maybe done before with different testing platforms, and what type of implementation should we proceed with? So after that, then if we look at pairing Target with the other products in the Adobe suite, particularly Marketo, here are the top 3 benefits that we see. And the first one, as Brandon touched on, is that personalization. So if you already went through all of the efforts to, build a life cycle out in Marketo, you're trying to generate more MQLs, more form fills, as he was saying, for that one use case that we had, and you're funneling these records into CRM, what can we do when they're visiting your website, post form fill or at different stages in that buyer journey, to give them a more personalized experience? And for that university example, right, maybe it's, I'm clicking more on the nursing program. I want to see more things about the nursing program as I'm visiting across the website. The second piece then comes with the boosted engagement and conversions. So because we're combining those CRM and marketing automation platform attributes together, you're giving those additional personalized experiences, and it can drive deeper engagement. And lastly, tying it all the way back to data-driven aspects. So rather than just kind of leveraging manual testing, you can leverage the power of Target and some of the AI features we're going to review today to get better insights. So now that you kind of understand the benefits, I'm going to walk through what the integration flow looks like and then show you how that works in Target. So when we integrate Marketo with Target, what you would do first is build a Marketo audience or a Marketo static list. So we'll show today how to build out that Marketo program and build a list. Then once you have that list of people, you can publish that to the Adobe platform and then use it as a similar audience in Target. And that allows us in step 3 here to build a target experience and adjust the website targeting that specific marketing audience. And lastly, obviously, optimizing things all the way around and reporting on your Marketo program and your testing activity in Target. And that leads to our demo. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over here. Brandon, can you just confirm for me? You can see that.
I do see it, yes.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So for those of you on the call that maybe have never seen Target before, we're going to do a quick flyover before we show the Marketo integration piece. And as you can see, many of the Adobe products now look very similar when it comes to the UI. So we've got all these different tabs here at the top, just like what you would see in Marketo. And if you were watching over my shoulder like this as I was working in Target, what you'd see is I'd start by creating an activity at the top. And just like in Marketo, where we have different program types, you got your engagement program, your event program, you've got different icons and different colors. We have different types here too. So we've got A/B tests, automated personalization, experience targeting, multivariate tests, and recommendations. And those all come with different color categories as well. So we're going to show the A/B test as our first example, just to show you what the composer looks like. And I'll hop into this one. So this is what the Target Visual Experience Composer looks like. You can plug your website URL in here, and then it's just as easy as clicking on an element like this and giving the ability to edit it. So in a standard A/B test, you'd have experience A, which is your control, and then you could create experience B, which I've already done here. You could continue to create many other experiences, C, D, etc. But it's just as easy as clicking into this paragraph and I can type additional values in here. I can change the color, I can change the font. I have all these different styling options on the right-hand side. And I could change even, my button background color as well. So it really is that user friendly. You don't have to know any HTML code or CSS. Regular marketing teams, all different skill levels can use Target and adjust different experiences in here. Then when it comes to targeting, so you'll see at the top here, every activity that we work in has experiences, targeting, and then goals and settings. So for targeting, in an A/B test, typically what you do is show an A/B test to all visitors. And I can zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this a little bit better. So you'd run an A/B test for all visitors to your website. And then based on the number of experiences that you build, it will split that percentage randomly and equal. So if I had 3 experiences, it'd be 33%, 33%, and 33%. And this example here, we've got 50-50. So half your audience is going to get that test, and we'll see which one performs better. And the last piece of our flyover then is going into that goals and settings. So before I can activate a audience, I need to pick a goal metric. And my goal here is just if they clicked on that element to basically sign up or buy now. So we had that button that I was attempting to kind of change the background color on. That's our conversion element. And you can pick different goals, whether it comes to tying your revenue in here or different engagement, different page views. You can do all those 3 different options in terms of a goal. And that's really all there is to it. So not too tricky, kind of similar to like a Marketo Smart campaign. You got your 3 different steps and then you activate it, and then this would be live on the page. So I'm going to cancel out of here. And I'm going to go ahead and do a big refresh here. There we go. Okay, awesome. So in terms of those other activities, the next example we're going to show is experience targeting. And we'll also talk about multivariate tests. So experience targeting is more about setting a specific audience. Let's say that one of our audience is sports fans that like the Chicago Cubs. Maybe the sports fans that like the Chicago Cubs are more likely to click on a button that's red or blue themed with an image of the stadium. So for experience targeting, we can build an experience all around the Chicago Cubs and set that audience up, which is what we're going to show for our marketing example today. But then multivariate, as Brandon hinted at earlier, is a combination of a variety of experiences. So it kind of does a factorial effect of I could edit 5 different locations on a page and it might produce 25 different experiences to test. That one takes a little bit longer, and then you'll need a little bit more site traffic or a longer test to run. To wrap up our activity types here, those other two, automated personalization and recommendations, we're not going to show today, as those are in the Target Premium package. And those are some of those cooler AI features. So if you're interested in seeing more of Target, we can set up another session to walk through those awesome AI features. But to wrap up our demo today, we're going to move into Marketo and show how we can send that list over here to set up our summer promo. So I'm going to switch to Marketo. And if I'm a marketer in Marketo, I'm here in my marketing activities, and I've created a purple email program. So I'm going to send this out to my newsletter subscribers, and I've created a summer promotion. So I want to give them a different experience on the website if they click on our summer promotion. So I've got my purple email program. I've got an email asset created here and prepped and ready to go. But I want to build out my success logic before I schedule and activate this purple email program to send out for my July newsletter subscribers. So I can come to my smart campaign here, and I'll refresh real quick. I had everything prepared and it's sitting there too long. So we'll get it all refreshed here. Perfect. Okay. So now we're in that smart list. And the success logic for this program is just if they click the link in the email. So I've got this orange trigger prepped in here. And then in our flow step, what we would do is we're going to mark that program status as influenced. So that's important for everything else you do in Marketo, right? When you're setting acquisition programs and you're doing performance insights reporting, you need to mark that status as influenced as your success step. And because they're successful and they've clicked on our CTA, then we want to add them to our list. So I've created a static list over here as a local asset of my program. And once we activate this smart campaign, then all of our promo clickers will be syncing to this list. And to tie everything together, if I click on this list, all you have to do is right click and you have a variety of different options. So once you have things connected and we're hooked up to Target, what you can do is send this list to the Experience Cloud. So if I click on this, then I just go ahead and select my folder, and I'm going to create a new audience. So I want to keep the names the same so it doesn't get lost. And I'll go ahead and keep that audience membership in sync. And then all you have to do is press send. And there's no people on there. So we'll go in, let me just add myself to this real quick. We're seeing a live demo in action here. Let me get myself on here, run this. Give that a second for it to load in. we go. Okay. Let's try again. So now I got one person on here. So that's something is you'd probably need to do this and test it out before you sent things to the rest of your newsletter subscribers. If you activate that smart campaign, make sure you test yourself going through here. Click it so that you can get your list synced up. And then it's already sending to target once you go ahead and schedule your newsletter email. There we go. So that's the success message you should expect to see, that it's been sent to target. One thing to point out, especially for this demo, is it can take 6 to 8 hours for that audience to populate back and forth, but we will see that audience kind of appear instantly within the UI. Okay, so with that said, we'll come back to Target and wrap up our demo here. Let me refresh this. And I'll go into my summer promo example, and we're going to see the experience targeting at play. So rather than that random 50% sample size that we saw for the A/B test, now we're in a purple experience targeting activity. So I've adjusted our experience here, and I've changed the text on our button to say this is our summer promo button. So because we know our summer promo clickers are clicking here to this page, we want to adjust this experience. I can do other things here as well. If I wanted to say, hello, summer savings, I can add whatever I'd like. And it's just as easy as that to hijack the page and adjust different things here. So once I have my experience prepped, I'll go ahead and hit next. And this is where we see the targeting come into play. So I'll zoom in here again. And instead of all visitors like we were doing before, what we want to do is replace this audience with our 2025 summer promo clickers. So this audience has synced from Marketo, and we can use that audience here in our target activity. So that's showing kind of how we've got everything in the Adobe architecture connected. We would plug this Marketo audience in here, and then anyone that meets that audience and visits this page would be served that different experience. And to wrap it up, we'd set our goals and settings, we'd activate things. I've got my goal set to clicking that summer promo button that I adjusted. And the last thing that I would need to do is add the summer promo clickers audience here so that we can report on the difference in the audience. And I'd save and close and activate. So that is how we can get Marketo and Target to work together. I'm going to go ahead and head back to our slides here. And just kind of wrapping up before we hand back to Brandon, really showing the strengths of Marketo and Target together can equip your marketing team to work faster, right? I didn't have to recreate that audience again in Target. I could just use something that was already created. You can test smarter by using those newsletter audiences, your openers, your clickers, people that are engaged with your marketing content, and then overall engage better. So if you're a Marketo customer and you haven't used Adobe Target yet, this integration can unlock major value. So I'll turn it back to you, Brandon, for questions and any other wrap up that we have today.
Well, thanks, Georgia, for a wonderful demo, and hopefully you guys can see the power of Marketo plus Target and how that can drive value for your customers. So feel free to definitely write any questions in the box. But I did have a couple questions I was going to ask Georgia that we see typically from customers. So sometimes it isn't always easy to ask somebody a question. So, Georgia, I'll ask you a couple questions and that we see routinely. So, for the first question, is it better to run those manual A/B tests or use AI features right out of the gate?
Okay, yeah, good strategic question. So the short answer would probably be depends on where your team is at on the optimization maturity. So if you've never used a testing tool before, you've never used Target, maybe you're just starting out, We would generally recommend beginning with those manual A/B tests, kind of what I showed in the beginning, that 50-50 split, until you get a little bit more comfortable because you can control everything that's being tested. You can build a foundation of skills and kind of hypothesize on what you're trying to do, and then that gives you a better understanding. But after that, then absolutely. So you could graduate up to the AI features and testing data and traffic using tools like the auto target feature, auto allocate in Target, and the automated personalization are really cool AI options that you can layer into these experiences we've edited today.
Yeah, George, I really like how you use the word graduate. So, when I'm talking to executives, one of the things they're always asking about is, how can we leverage AI? How can we do more with our existing team? And the nice thing about Target is you can bring it in today, get the fundamentals right, and be able to run campaigns that you have. But it's still a platform that's going to grow with you as AI and Adobe continue to accelerate and develop the product and give more value for customers. So and that kind of leads into kind of the second question we get. Um, we have a lot of customers that have smaller marketing teams, and they wonder, how do we manage Target efficiently and scale personalization without overwhelming my team? So, for those type of customers, Georgia, what would you say to them is a good way to get started with Target?
Yeah, that's another common concern, but always important too. So even though it can feel a little overwhelming if you're juggling multiple things, you're wearing a lot of hats on the marketing team. You're sending the emails, and you might be handling the testing, maybe even running the Google ads too, right? You're managing a lot of different things. But Target was built with scalability in mind, so you can create several different things that are reusable. The first one is that auto target feature that comes with Target Premium. So it'll automatically test and adjust your audiences for you. So utilizing those AI features is a great thing for small teams. The other one is reusable audiences. So we just showed Marketo reusing an audience in Target. You can reuse audiences within Target as well. So some of the common ones we see are like new visitors, returning visitors, building like a category affinity around a specific product, building an affinity on your website. So reusing those audiences for a variety of different tests can help the team work a little bit more efficiently. You don't need to reinvent the wheel every single time. If you know what your personas are and your audiences are, reuse those to your advantage, and then reuse audiences across platforms like we showed today.
Well, perfect. Well, great answers to both of those questions. As you guys, look at this and digest kind of what we had to say, don't hesitate to reach out to us. So I put my contact information there as well as our account executive for all things Adobe, Reagan Gordon on there. Feel free to reach out to either one of us. We'd love to, get you a product demo, talk to you about what you're trying to do and how we can put the right technology in front of you. So regardless whether you're a Xeris customer, Adobe customer, we'd love to have the opportunity to talk to you and see if we can show value for you here in the platform. We really thank everyone for joining the call today, and look forward to helping you as you continue to embark on your marketing technology journey. Thank you so much for joining, and have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.